What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, crazy enough, I just went ahead and made a video about how we were hearing absolutely nothing for the next upcoming update or just anything that's going on within Battlefield. And then, of course, a few days later, DICE came out with a massive blog post basically discussing all of the most crucial class system updates that we want to see when it comes to update 3.2. Now, before we go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into that topic, I do want to go ahead and mention that DICE also did a recent update to Battlefield 2042, if you haven't noticed, that basically fixed up some of the issues that were going on with the gunplay. And I gotta say, the gunplay now is extremely smooth and crispy. Now, of course, once again, if you didn't really care for Battlefield 2042 to begin with, and it was beyond the point of, the actual guns functioning, then you're probably not going to enjoy it. But if one of the biggest issues, like, me and tons of other content creators out there, or just people who are trying to simply enjoy the game are having when it comes to actually being able to engage in gunfights, it is 10 trillion times better now. It almost feels like how it did in the beta. You guys remember back in the beta when I used to say it felt so crispy, the gunplay, it was so fluent, so nice. And then the second the game dropped, my opinion instantly changed. Apparently, I wasn't going crazy. Apparently, it was actually a real thing. It was the real deal, and it lasted all the way up until current date. But it's fixed now, and my goodness, it feels very, very good. So once again, props to DICE for... maybe I shouldn't give props for it being something that took so long to polish off, but at the end of the day, props for at least improving upon it and not leaving it for eternity. But ladies and gentlemen, I do understand that you clicked on this video not to hear about, the most recent minor update, even though it's not minor in my opinion. I think the gunplay update is absolutely huge, but the majority of you guys clicked on this video to hear about the class system. Yes, like I said earlier, DICE finally put out the official blog post covering everything from head to toe that is coming in to update 3.2 that is going to be involving the class system. Now, I will admit, it's nothing too insane. It's not like they were holding back any crazy information that they haven't told us already, but there are some in-depth details that, explain a little bit more behind the scenes on how they came up with decisions. And I really do appreciate how, DICE took step by step with their community to build this thing up. And of course, to go ahead and protect myself, I do understand this isn't the traditional class system of Battlefield. Don't think that, I'm hyping this up or I'm saying that this is, amazing. They're doing everything we asked for again. This is just the middle ground. They're trying to find a middle ground from the disaster that they made at launch and what the community wants now, without having to, go through thousands of different lawsuits and legal fees and all this crap for changing too much of the core game that they already, signed off a bunch of stuff with other people like actors and actresses, for example. So to avoid all that stuff, they have to find a middle ground, and this right here is that. So just understand, I do understand all this stuff, but I can't lie when I say that it is enjoyable to see that they are taking big strides, big steps to changing things for the better of the community. Now, to start this all off, I don't think I was the only person in the Battlefield community who believed this, but I really did believe that DICE was going to try to fix the class system by themselves. They said they were going to use community feedback, but from what it looked like, at least from my perspective, it didn't seem like any of us really had a voice. So I was starting to believe that DICE was going to pull another typical DICE move, where they just put out 50,000 fixes until one of them finally click, instead of just easily going to the community, finding, the perfect middle ground right away, and then we don't have to spend 10,000 months figuring out what's right from wrong. But it finally seems that DICE learned their lesson after all of these years of making those same mistakes. Even with Battlefield 2042, to be honest as well, at launch, it ran into the same mistakes. But it seems they finally are listening to the community. They actually had, a big test group behind the scenes, running matches after matches after matches, testing out all the class changes, all the class fixes, trying to find, once again, the perfect middle ground. But again, while finding this perfect middle ground, it wasn't just the developers, it was the community as well. Now, I am a little sad that they didn't really open it up to the mass public, everybody out there, but that would be a problem. A lot of people, when they voice their opinions, they don't do it in the most constructive of ways, so it does add a lot of noise to the mix. It's probably best to find a very good set of people who know exactly what's going on in Battlefield, who love Battlefield, who've been playing Battlefield for a long time. Let them test it out, let them see what's going on, and give some legitimate, real criticism. And again, we don't know if it's going to turn out good yet. We haven't had hands-on. But this right here, in my opinion, is amazing news, especially compared to what DICE used to do back in the day, where they would just shoot blindly without knowing, what direction they're going to try to make a fix for the game. And DICE also made it very clear that the community did have a massive say in what is going on with the class changes. So they didn't just, simply ask for a few things here and there, and then, they took that advice and did what they wanted to do. No, a lot of the changes that are going to be happening are literally community-made changes, which once again is, in my opinion, fantastic news. Now, of course, DICE went over a few other things, the basic stuff that we already know, how assault class is locked to certain stuff, support class is locked to certain stuff, which specialists are on which class, gadgets for which class, who has what, this, that. We already talked about the weapon proficiencies as well, but for anybody who's new who didn't, hear about that part of the video from my other one, basically, whatever class that you choose, like, for example, assault. If you play as assault and you pick an assault rifle, you will get an extra add-on, to that weapon. Basically, it gives you extra magazines, which no other class will get if they use an assault rifle. Only the assault class. The support class, medics and stuff like that. If you use an SMG, what is it? Like faster ADS time or something like that? But you only get that ability if you use support and an SMG. So stuff like that to kind of convince people to use the weapon that better fits the classes, but it's not mandatory. You could still use whatever you want. You just won't have the add-ons on top of the weapon. They did go over the fact that they don't want to go ahead and lock weapons to classes. They feel like this style is better for Battlefield 2042, allowing all weapons across the board to be able to be used, which, again, I'm 50-50 about. I wouldn't mind if they changed back to the previous system in the next Battlefield game. But for Battlefield 2042, at the moment, I really do just look at this game as kind of like a test game at this point. So, honestly, I don't mind being able to use all the weapons across the board, because I do, no matter what specialist or operator, whatever you want to call them, I use. I always change it up, whether I want to use an SMG, an AR, an LMG, a marksman rifle, it doesn't matter to me. I love using them all. So I like the freedom, but I think it's a nice, little in-between to make people use weapons that are assigned for the classes with the add-ons that come along with it. It's smart, but we'll see if these add-ons are enough to encourage people to actually go ahead and do so. Like, will extra magazines really, benefit me? Especially if more people are going to be running ammo boxes. The medic class, I guarantee that on the medic class, everybody's going to be using the ammo box. So they're going to have a med pen, and they're going to have the ammo. I bet you ammo is going to be everywhere. Will it be necessary to have those extra mags? They might have to mess around with those add-ons and make them a little bit more, beefier, a little bit more encouraging to want to use it specifically for that class. Especially if they don't plan on locking the weapons per each class either. And also, one last thing that really caught my eye was the fact that the developers were putting a ton of emphasis on the fact that they're trying to make the classes almost have an identity. Basically like back in the day, if you saw a certain character, a certain skin, you would know exactly what they are, what they're doing, and what they're planning to do. Well, in Battlefield 2042, let's be real here, that lacks a ton. Basically, when any player can do whatever they want, no matter what specialist they are, nobody can really dictate anything. But the way that they are having the specialists now, well, basically the class system, is each set of individuals are allowed to have certain equipment, which for a fact that they will have. So if you're a tank player and you see an engineer, those individuals are going to carry rockets. But if you see a support player, you can approach the situation a little bit differently, compared to how it is right now in Battlefield 2042. You see Falk running around. You see, oh, I'm in a tank. It's an easy kill, It's a medic. And then out of nowhere, you're getting beamed by hundreds of different rockets. It just, it is what it is. But with this new system, that will be amazing, because now we truly will know who can do what, and we can plan ahead of time. We can actually use it as a skill gap, something that Battlefield used to have back in the day, but it was seriously lacking with Battlefield 2042. And now with it being reintroduced, I gotta say, I'm a little bit more confident about it. But ladies and gentlemen, do me a massive favor, go down in the comment section and leave your opinions down below about how you feel about this overall topic. Do you guys think, all these changes are going to be fantastic? Do you believe that DICE, might actually nail this? Do you think they know what they're doing? Or do you really have basically no expectations for this? I know there's still tons of people out there who just simply don't care for Battlefield 2042, and I don't blame you. If you don't like the game, you don't like the game. But no matter what changes they do, it's not going to interest you. At the end of the day, it's not really the class system. So will it be good enough? I don't know. But for anybody who enjoys Battlefield 2042, I do think this is going to be a pretty darn good update and will be definitely worth going ahead and checking out. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like button if you hate it. Leave a dislike. Also, for brand new enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat with me? This do we do so. I have a Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also, want to catch me live streams of video games, do over on Twitch. Leave that in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.